because if it was about just a few sentences, it would be let go of. So energetically, this can't be let go of, and you could make analogies to the head in the lion's mouth, lark, but there isn't a lion, a head, or a fucking mouth. It's just what's happening, and without all the stories of non-duality, of liberation, of me, of you, of fucking getting there, of falling away of self, of every awareness, consciousness, every concept. What's left is just the fullness of this. So what's appearing to happen hasn't got a name. It's not apart, it's not further away, it's not other than, so therefore it can't be known. It's not a thing, it's not a no thing, it's not an everything. So that's the first sort of dilemma, that this immediately appears as the sound of a voice, thoughts, feelings, sounds outside, whatever is happening. And in the wild run of things, and in the normal day-to-day interactions, and in the normal meetings, let's just say, what is, when meetings are arranged, you could say that normally they speak to an individual and information is shared about something to others. And in that, something can be imparted and something can be learned and gotten. But that's not happening in this meeting. So that's the other dilemma. And you could say that the reason for that is that there is a suggestion, an undercurrent, or a suggestion appearing to be made, and the suggestion appearing to be made is that there is no one orchestrating anything, doing the talking, the listening, the choosing apparently to attend meeting, there's just no one doing anything. So this is that's the sort of suggestion that's being made, and it sort of ties into the first dilemma, which is that this is not something apart. What's appearing to happen is not something apart that can then be spoken about or known, and it's because there's nothing in any of the bodies that can have or hold on to anything. This apparent life floods the senses and is constantly falling apart and appearing as immediately just this. So that's sort of those few sentences don't matter either. It's not like anything then within those few sentences need to be understood or grasped. It's sort of it's a total mystery that there is a meeting, and this meeting, I suppose, exposes wonderfully how absolutely every tiny apparent thing that is happening is a mystery. So appearing, and in this mystery, or in this apparent happening, there is a felt feeling, or there can be a felt feeling of knowing the world, of knowing what it is, of knowing how it was, and of knowing how it should be. And then there can be idealized or idealistic images of something other, and they can be gleaned from, books or moments or just apparent happenings. And in those gleamings of glimpses of something other and better and more than what's happening, sometimes seeking for that, or seeking, we'll say, happens. Seeking in that world of knowing, in that world of having and getting, a seeking to know what this is, to have it, to get it, to understand it, to fulfillment, for wisdom, peace, bliss, whatever, peace beyond understanding, liberation, nothing, nothing and everything, whatever word, whatever thing, there's a sort of a seeking that can happen. And then there is a stumbling upon sort of communications like this. And the essence of these uncompromising communications that are no one's, is that really they offer absolutely fucking nothing at all to that which has been seeking and yearning and wanting and needing and must having this thing that is thought to fill the gap. And for whatever reason, and there isn't a reason, it would seem that this sort of communication can't be let go of. Because if it could be let go of, it surely would. And the wonderfulness of that is that it exposes utterly and completely how there is no control over anything at all. Because surely if there was, there would be a total discarding of a communication like this, when nothing is on offer for that which is seeking something. And that's another part of this mystery. There's no rhyme nor reason for that. It's just what appears to happen. So this is beyond simple and nothing to do with understanding or having. Nothing to do with understanding or a thought or anything at all. It's just what's appearing to happen. So let's see if questions arise. Let's see what happens. We've a little bit of time together to apparently explore. And so if there's anything at all that's there to be asked or said, then fucking say it. And you can stick a comment, or you can just unmute and jump on in, and let's see what happens.
Do you hear me, Frank?
Yep.
Good. I thought I had no questions. I love to listen to you. But I just came across a little post on Facebook about awareness, about witnessing, and I don't know. Could you expand on it in the let's say the classical non-duality teaching? Awareness has a big role, and I'm not so sure about it anymore. Does it actually exist, or is it just something? Is it just a construct of the mind? It was a post in which it was said that the body is very vulnerable. It comes and goes. Thoughts and feelings are also very transient. They come and go. But this witnessing quality seems to be very stable and timeless and always the same. And
Yeah, I mean,
What is?
it seems to be back in the game of talking to someone that can have and be awareness, or you know, that's what that seems like. Awareness just seems like a thing to have for someone to be aware. And it's like saying that there, when the water is falling, that there is awareness in that one drop of that water falling, or lifing, or presenting, or this happening, or presenting, lifing, this fucking this, that there'd be something in there fixed and paused in time that could be aware of something other over
Mhm.
there. So it just seems like another thing,
Yeah,
another story.
dualistic story. It's
Well,
two.
it just seems to be back in knowledge. That's all. It just seems to be back in another story that is held together by some other words, and it's a thing. And so we're back in the words mean something, and that there's a thing called awareness. All the while, there's no one fucking talking, no one listening, and this is just what's appearing to happen. So it's just that's what it's just seems. It's more story, you know.
Yeah,
The this is like this is nothing, full to the brim, with the hearing of this is nothing, full to the brim. It's full as whatever is, and there's nothing at the center. So then beyond all that sort of, it's just, to me, it's just totally, we're back in the story of awareness, consciousness, whatever.
yeah. But still, it's the root, the basis of well, 99.9% of all the so-called non-duality teachings, huh?
Well, for the most part, it seems like that 99.999% of what's out there are absolutely wonderful. They're fucking amazing in the
Mm.
sense of how attractive they are, and uh, and awareness fits into that wonderfully. How to get to awareness, or I can't even
Yeah,
remember what's said now about that sort of thing. But to me, it's back then in the game. You're back in the game of knowing. And so
yeah,
at the moment then it's knowing, it's the currency is understanding. So I've got something that I can impart, whilst you'll never get closer or further away to the apparent imparting then. So this is,
yeah,
it's alive as stories about awareness, consciousness. It's like nothing also is just a word, nothing and everything. They're just words. But I
yeah,
suppose it sort of at best points to this boundlessness, this unabridged happening. But you see, all the while there's an apparent, point or a question there and a response here. All the while that's happening, the actual mystery is the rah rah rah. It's fully alive as this chat.
hmm,
So
yeah, yeah,
it's just it's the whole, it's back in spirituality, whereas there's nothing at all being communicated here. This isn't a purpose to impart anything. But
yeah,
it's just it's another. So if awareness is true, for example, then words are real, and then this can be pointed to.
hmm, yeah. It also seems to be an appealing new identity. Instead of being the person now, you are you are awareness.
Well, it sounds so personal. So you are still, you're back in being a thing anyway, called
Yeah,
awareness.
yeah.
So um it's just another state or an image, another idea.
What remains? I mean, without the whole concept of awareness, is just mystery. Can't say anything about it actually.
Well, wonderfully, actually, it appears then as saying you can't say anything about it. You know
Right.
what was
Yeah.
said there. So it's everything.
Yeah.
It's alive as an apparent discussion now, a pointless, purposeless conversation. And this, like, without the story of beginning and end and seeking and time and all the stories, like every single tiny story, whether it's awareness, liberation, anything at all, this is it.
Yeah.
And it's this is impossible because um what's what's wanted most is that this can be known, let's say, for seeking, and it's also entering the gates of hell, that this could be bound by uh, by words. It's almost immediately um, stale and old because it never can capture. It simply cannot capture the immediate fullness of simply hearing a voice. But in the game of awareness, then it's in the game of sort of time,
Yeah.
awareness of other. But then it depends, really, it depends on how, what people, really, this is nothing to do with the words, but there's some words that are just simply not used here. And mostly it's, and awareness is one of those. What is anything at all?
Yeah.
What is anything at all? It's like, nothing is imagined to be a thing called nothing, nothing and everything. It's like that's also there's an attempt to always try and make that mean something else. And yet it is alive as seeking, as the question, as thinking, as feeling, and as apparently talking and everything else. It's also sort of a little bit intellectual almost. When a child is banging the stick on the ground, it's just banging the stick on the ground. And when a thought is apparently happening or sensations, it is fully appearing as a thought. It's fully appearing as feelings, and it's fully appearing as whatever is,
Mm.
nothing full as everything.
Yeah. But
But even those, like, they're just bullshit blah blah words. They don't mean anything.
yeah.
You see, in a sense, really, that's the dilemma, really, that I said at the very, very start. It's that immediately, um, what's appearing to happen doesn't have a name.
Mm.
This is the nameless, because it would have to be other than.
Yeah. But that's the thing. If you say things appear, then at least my spiritual conditioning saying it's appearing to something else.
Mm. So this is nothing appearing to happen.
Mm.
What to be done with that?
Yeah.
And in a sense, really saying this is nothing appearing to happen is an apparent expression that arises that sort of, it's the same way as saying this is just total mystery.
Yeah.
And you simply can't, this idea of spiritual conditioning, it's basically lost in language then.
Yeah.
Imagining and go around the houses with that, and always there's a sort of dry dissatisfaction to this spiritual sort of language. And so for a little while, maybe uh, a week or 25 minutes, there's a sort of a feeling of, oh yeah, it's this. And at the
Mm.
same time, the dryness of that sort of becomes a little bit dissatisfying.
Yeah.
Um, but you see, wonderfully, you can't, it's not like you can't do anything about anything because already there isn't anyone in there doing anything. So isn't that amazing? Like it is appearing as wondering about awareness then.
Yeah.
It is that, like, woo! It's so fucking totally, horribly, wonderfully impersonal and ordinary. And impersonal and ordinary doesn't hit the nail on the head in any way, shape, or form, but it's nothing to do with anyone because there isn't anyone. Free to be exactly then how this appears to be being.
Okay. Thanks, Frank.
Thank you.
Hey Frank,
Hiya.
how are you?
Good, yeah. How you doing?
Good. Pretty good. Um, so would it be accurate to say that our ideas about this block, seeing what you're talking about?
It appears as ideas and imagination of what I'm talking about.
What was that last part again?
It appears as ideas and imagination of what I was talking about, or of what this communication is about. It appears immediately and inescapably as that.
But there's
But
no way to understand that.
well, how do you get closer or further away to immediately saying there's no way to understand that? So it is the thoughts, it is the asking questions, it is the trying to understand or whatever. So it's like normally in the run of things, 2 + 2 = 4. I can understand the formula, I'll get it, and that's it. But what the full arising thought or seeking or whatever is felt, whatever is imagined, that it appears as that. But it seems like, I don't know, all the while that it's that imagination is happening of understanding, of getting, and all that sort of thing. It seems like, it's described as, well, there's someone in there, and as long as there's someone in there, there's an imagination that it can be understood. But the suggestion being made is that there isn't anyone in there trying to do that, and there isn't anyone in there seeking or wondering or asking questions. So there's nothing inside that body, and yet there is what is appearing, and there is what's being described and felt. See, nothing happens at all. At all. At all, at all, at all. Nothing. Nothing changes.
It seems like you're like on the other side, letting us know how it actually is.
Yeah, and really maybe you'd like, all there is just imaginations that there is another side, and that there is a thing called liberation, that there is something that someone can get. And this then seems to just like there is a sort of a paradox in all this, and especially with the videos and all that fucking podcasts, it's all apparently there, and then it looks like, oh, suddenly he's got it, and he's talking about it now, and that's a sort of a dilemma, but also it's just what's appearing to happen. And so there isn't there isn't anyone in there that can fall away, unfortunately. That's the fucking, like, that's a killer. Because like liberation, even in a sense, like liberation or the falling away of self, or all those things, they're imagined to be something that can happen for someone. But if there isn't anyone already in there doing anything, and there's just the fullness of what's happening, then that's all. It's like, it is sort of amazing that this communication happens at all. It's very possible that it could just not happen again here, then no other meeting. I don't know, because there isn't a purpose or for this, but it's the exact fucking same. It's like, it's the exact same there. It's like, will I go to a meeting? Will I not go to a meeting? Will I? I'm fed up with this. I love this. I hate it. Whatever. It's the same. It's the exact same. And in a way, you see, the childlikeness in all this is this total innocence. And then this person goes through life taking on all these concepts, and at a certain point, there's a dissatisfaction with all these concepts and all these havings. And you could say there's a stumbling, like I said at the start, a stumbling upon a communication like this that really just doesn't fit into any sort of category, doesn't really, can't really be held on to. There's nothing really in the communication that can really be gotten or had. And it seems like a grappling with that appears to happen. And although, you know, that really is, it's like, because if it was about just a few sentences, it would be let go of. So energetically, this can't be let go of. And you could make analogies to the head in the lion's mouth, lark, but there isn't a lion, a head, or a fucking mouth. It's just what's happening. And without all the stories of non-duality, of liberation, of me, of you, of fucking getting there, of falling away of self, of every awareness, consciousness, every concept. What's left is just the fullness of this.
But it has nothing to do with letting go of the stories.
No, it's just fully alive as whatever is. You can't do it right or wrong. It's just, there's just what's happening. If you could do it right or wrong, you'd do it immaculately, perfectly, all of the time, in a wonderful, perfectly held together state of fucking perfection. So it's just, it can't be done right or wrong. It's there because there isn't anyone in there who can orchestrate or do anything. Like for everything, breathing, growing the hair long, losing the hair, growing the hair gray, fucking teething, tonguing, ears, eyelashes, eyes flickering, head moving, every thought, everything. No one doing anything. And also, it's not like then that can be known. Oh, I'll get to know that then. Because then we'd be back in that would be knowable. So then it's just a communication appearing to happen. And it's a communication, which implies, you know, sort of questions and answers sort of thing. So it's the same, it just appears like, you know, there's a question being asked there and there's a response here, but not an apparent answer. There isn't an answer. There's nothing, there's no knowledge or nothing being imparted or explained back at all. At all, at all, at all, at all, at all. So it's the fucking worst meeting on the planet.
Yeah, just doesn't make sense.
No, it absolutely, categorically makes zero sense.
Yeah, it contradicts the experience.
Mm. It's so, it's so, and these used to drive me crazy, but it's just so naturally what is. Without, or we're just so used to authority and someone who knows and someone who understands and someone who can impart back and who's got this, whether whoever is talking, they've got it. That reinforces in a way this idea that there is something that can be gotten. And so that's the sort of paradox with this. And yet really the communication is so definitely flavorless, really. There's nothing tangible that can be held onto at all with it. And but I don't know, it's a fucking mystery. It's a mystery, it's questions, mystery. Anybody apparently turns up and all that. It's amazing. This dickhead is apparently talking about this. About this. It's naturally, simply, and totally just what's appearing to happen, but not you and. So then flooding the senses as whatever is. Thankfully, it won't ever be gotten. Thankfully.
Yeah. It almost like is what you're saying is like seems even greater than what the other message, even though I can't make sense, like the attractiveness of like no authority. And I don't know if these are conceptual ideas about it, but it's almost like more beautiful.
Well, I mean, it just immediately is appearing as saying that. So,
Thanks.
thank you.
Hey, Frank.
Hiya.
I, somebody recently in one of the thingies said this communication sees only unconditional love. And I noticed me just immediately turned that into a shiny object. and like, I guess one of the things about your apparent character is that it's not flowery. And I know nothing is being done. I know you aren't doing it, but like there's nothing flowery often. I mean, occasionally there'll be some, but like when you, does anything come up when you hear that,
Well,
that this communication?
unconditional love includes conditions. And it seems like that there isn't flowery language used, but that's how it seems to come out of this fucking gob. And the words, the juicy, like it just doesn't seem to come out like, liberation and all that. And liberation is fucking wonderful, but it seems to be like it's liberation beyond the idea or held image of what liberation is. So it's liberation from liberation. Liberation from this held image of unconditional love. And unconditional love is fucking lovely. I love it. But unconditional love includes violent hate. And it includes the lion ripping the head of the lamb and devouring it. So that's also unconditional love. It's not but it can't but be imagined that unconditional love must be lovely. But also, this is not like this then can be known as unconditional love. It is a flowery way of in a sense, the unconditional and love, it's a sort of a neutral-ish. But once the word love is used, it's imagined to be pretty and pink.
Yeah.
So, so this is free to be exactly, completely how it appears to be being. Unconditional love is the trees, is the leaves falling, the flowers withering into yuckiness from when they were lovely or whatever. Unconditional love is everything. Everything. Picking up the dog shit. There we go.
Thanks.
Thank you. See, in a sense, this idea of authority is it does always come back to that really, that but there isn't an authority here. So apparently 13 names and actually not a single there isn't anyone in there in any of those fucking names inside there. So then if there isn't anything inside any of all of these names here, what the fuck? Now for you.
Hi, Frank.
Hey,
How about enjoyment?
hmm.
Do you still enjoy
Well,
it?
I don't do or not do anything, but enjoying things appear to happen. Or there's just fully what is and preferences within that. I mean, you see, that's it's like, okay, so what part are you doing exactly? So the breathing part, how do you do enjoyment? Or how do you do dread? Or I don't fancy that. Or the in-laws are coming to stay for a fucking week. I mean, like it's, but like, how do you do the eyes, the hearing, the breathing, the dread, the enjoying, the loving? How do you do worry? Worry is a fucking, I mean, how do you do worry? How do you not do worry? But like, it's the whole lot, like the grass growing, the fucking leaves, dogs barking, the thinking, feeling, fucking every last little tiny little bit, including the seeking. How do you do the seeking? I don't know. And there isn't an explanation for anything at all.
So just no control.
No control of wanting to control either. No control of wanting to be organized or prepared, or no control of that, or no control of not giving a flying fuck about anything. And, you know, some characters don't like organization, some characters like to be totally fucking prepared for everything. How do you do that? And how do you not do that? So then it's fully as whatever is completely and utterly apparently enjoying something.
Life just goes on as it did.
Well, there isn't even a thing called life, like, but there, you know, there's just what's appearing to happen, and nothing, like, not even a hair's fucking is touched on the chinny chin fucking chin. Because the moment there's some sort of a thing that appears to happen, you can bet your ass that which was looking for the thing will come back and go, I've got it, and be dying to talk about it and share it and explain it. But as soon as it's gotten, it's like plucked from the tree and becomes withered and old. And it's immediately then apparently sensed, or can be sensed, where we're back in the game of knowledge and staleness. Whereas it appears as everything. That question about enjoying and this blah blah blahing back. So yeah, it's like I said at the very, very, very start. This, what's appearing to happen, has no name. Yep, and no self. Yeah. So all this here, this fucking wonderful conversation, it's just happening. Imagine that now. Isn't that amazing? That nobody's asking questions and nobody's replying, nobody's breathing and thinking and feeling, but there's thinking, feeling, asking questions, and but there isn't then a someone that becomes a no one or a self that becomes a no self. There's just isn't a self.
Good evening, Frank.
Yeah.
Hey. I think that something needs to happen in my head so that this, whatever you seem to express, is in a way seen. But I feel that there is kind of so deep-rooted, stubborn ignorance in this thingy here that it just doesn't want to, it just refuses. It just refuses, do we say refuse? Refuses this, yes.
Yeah. That's a nice story anyway.
Yeah.
It's just another story that's appearing. Imagination. It's worthy and all that. So all this, that something needs to happen for this to be evident or whatever. But then we'd be back in the game of it being evident, and it would be dead then, in the sense of this aliveness or this isiness of simply hearing a voice, could be known. And we'd be back in time-bound things that can be remembered.
Mm.
And that there'd be something in there that could hold on to this. It is as the thinking, and it is as the wondering about the whatever story was told at the start there. It appears as that then. Or that's at least what's been described and felt.
I would now even say that I don't even know what knowing really means, and not knowing really means. Like, I have no understanding at all. I feel quite a bit, yeah,
That's wonderful.
dumb, but not
Isn't
dumb
that
in the
wonderful?
self-hate way. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, this idea of knowing is another thing, or unknowing is another thing. Sure, what the fuck is unknowing?
Yeah.
Oh, it is unknowing. Yeah, it's not unknowing. It's not knowing. It's not anything. I mean, they're just words. But we're just so used to, a sort of an idea of truth and, an idea of things being able to be imparted. And whereas nothing is unimaginable, nothing happening is unimaginable. Because always there has to be fucking something to get and have. Even if it's the thing called nothing. I want that. I want that then. It's all just rah, 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 rah. So it is that then. It's just arising as that, and hearing then this voice and everything else.
And I thought also, I heard you, and I thought also, like, oh, trees don't have these kind of conversations, and cats probably also don't do that, and the cushion on my the pillows on my couch don't have these kinds of conversation, but somehow the human being is able to do that. So there is something, yeah.
Well,
But
it
it's
actually though is utterly irrelevant, and just you see, in a way, it's what we're talking about is the alive is just immediately appearing as talking. So, are apparently talking, but it doesn't sort of mean anything.
yeah.
But it would seem that the human being in the story of their lives put meaning on everything,
Yeah.
and purpose and specialness and all of that. You could say everything is special or nothing is special.
Hmm.
So it's just, or simply just, there's just what's appearing. But that's not a thing to know or live a life by. So it's fully as going to a concert, falling in love, falling out of love, laughing, crying, looking at the tree, wondering, are the trees communicating or not communicating, or the cats and the dogs? I mean, there's nothing going on in the doggies. But there's a sort of then, natural, like the pug goes over to the bowl. The fucking pug goes over to the bowl when I'm having my breakfast and starts hammering the bowl for his food. Or, you know what I mean? So that's just what's appearing to happen. That's also, it's called dog, but it's an outrageous sort of mystery. And also the reaction can sometimes be, well, you're fucking waiting. Or it'll be, I'll get up now. And it doesn't understand you're fucking waiting, but it couldn't come out of my mouth.
Yeah.
So it really there's already, I'm sorry to say this now, but there's already no one in there doing that, wondering about that sentence, about whatever, that something needs to happen. But it is what's appearing to be described, in fact. So that's what's appearing to happen then.
Hmm.
It is alive. It is that. It's very disappointing that there isn't anyone in there already. So do you mean to say that all the fucking questions are just questions appearing to be asked? It's just apparent seeking. It's just exactly immediately what it appears to be. Oh, fuck.
Hmm. Hmm.
Yeah, major disappointment, no celebration. Really, I mean, you could say it's like wonderfully and fucking immaculately disappointing. Well, it's because nothing happens, though. That's it's it's a big owl. It's a joke. Some seem to roar, laugh. It could be floods of tears, roaring, laughing. This is bullshit, or what, what do I do with this? That's the reaction. That could be the reaction. But what the fuck? Who knows, like? But I think it's the most disappointing thing on the planet to hear, if you're looking for the dropping away of the self, and that it's already the case. That's really annoying. the empty gift that cannot be given or received is nothing. Now, it can be imagined that there might be something in that sentence because the word gift is used. But nothing happens. And on that optimistic and wonderful note, I'd like to thank you all for a lovely meeting.
Thanks, Frank. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you, Frank.
Thank you.
all. Thank you very
Good night.
much.
Thank
you.
you. Bye bye.
Yes,
Thanks
Frank.
for hopelessness.
See you. Thanks so much. See you.
Thanks for nothing.
Bye.